Welcome to Trinity Podcast, where we're helping Americans to understand and master real estate investing, business and personal credit, and the money matrix, how each one affects you, and how to leverage your Trinity wealth to create your own economic independence. So I'm Joanna Wright, founder of Bottom Line Wealth, here with Becky Estep Noble, the credit coach queen. We're going to speak today about leveraging your personal credit and why it's important. Take it away, Beck.
Yay. So this is like kind of part 2 to part 1. So last week we went over part 1 of like some of the basics about credit, and went over a couple strategies, how people get into trouble, why credit's so important right now. But this week I really want to talk to the people that are like, well, I don't have any credit issues. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm great. There's always ways to leverage your credit when you have good scores to make credit work for you, so that you can actually make money off of it. And so I love doing strategy calls with people that do have good credit already, because it's like, how do we go from good to great? And so how do we go to that next level? And a lot of business owners already have good personal credit, but they don't realize that they don't want to use up all the good credit that they have on their personal, because it actually affects their debt to income ratios when they go to do the simple things with their personal credit, like buy cars and houses. And so so that's why I always teach about business credit in your business name, so that you can keep your liabilities separate. But on personal credit, you know, there's all these different kinds of credit cards out there, and there's all these different strategies that you can use by like the money that you're already using to pay things. If there's like cashback rewards on some of those credit cards, then you're actually getting money back in your pocket, so it's costing you less to buy the things that you were going to buy anyway. And then that way you're making credit work for you, because the idea is that, hey, I have this, say, $5,000 credit limit, and I pay all my bills out of this $5,000 credit card, and then I pay off the credit card every month. Now, if you're disciplined about money already, then that's a great strategy if it has a 2% cashback feature on it, because now you're getting all your stuff for 2% less, just because you're a better planner, and you can go from good to great when it comes to your credit. And then Albert Einstein talks about all the time about compound interest being the 8th wonder of the world. So I've been on this financial study journey for a very long time, but it wasn't until I started teaming up with people and surrounding myself with people that speak to that level all the time. And so now it started to shift my mindset. And so that's one of the reasons that I love doing this wealth building strategy podcast with Miss Joanna, because we get in each other's worlds constantly, so that I can learn about real estate stuff, and she can, learn more about some credit strategies. And so do you have any thoughts or ideas of what we're talking about?
So I wanted to point out that she just gave y'all a great strategy, first of all, because I don't know about you, but like there's a ton of credit cards out there, and isn't it confusing? Like, well, do I want mileage? Do I want cash back? Do I want 2%? Do I want 5%? Do I get this? Do I get that? Like, it's so confusing. I know it was for me anyway. So, and this is why I have Becky in my corner by my side, because she is the credit coach queen and guides me according to my story, what I need, where I need to go, and what's the best next step. Right. So she keeps me in line, if you will. And then keeping my business separate, right? Like, I already know that should be the right thing to do. But when you actually get into the weeds of it, you're like, but, and this is where Becky is my queen, if you will, to help me strategize the right next move. So if you're confused, like I was, or probably still am, I always defer to Becky for everything. If you're confused at all about which card you should use according to your story, right? What do you want to accomplish? What future thing? If you're ready to level up, right? What does level up mean for you? Everyone has a different story, so it's going to be different for each person. So I invite you guys to meet with Becky because she's a great strategy person to meet with to build your personal credit, not just like repair or manage, but actually build and leverage, right? How to strategize with it and make it work for you, right? Go to thecreditcoachqueen.com and book a call. It's free, so why not, right? Learn all the different strategies, because I know it was confusing for me, and I am just forever in debt to Becky E. Step Noble for helping me move forward on my credit.
Yay. Well, so
why is it important to level up? But who cares, right?
Right. It doesn't matter. I'm just kidding. I was just talking to somebody this morning about leadership because she went to school for leadership organization skills. And so I thought that was awesome. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Because a lot of times when I first stepped into like even thinking like that, thinking like leadership or anything, oh, I want to be a leader. And some people just are. And it's in a lot of ways, I always felt like, well, I just do what I have to do every day. So I just lead that way. But it wasn't until I read this book called Launching a Leadership Revolution by Warren and Chris Brady that I even knew or thought about or anything, that there's like, well, what they say is there's 5 levels of leadership.
Can you just repeat the name of the book again?
Yeah, it's Launching a Leadership Revolution. And so they talk about 5 levels of leadership. And there's even a test you can take, which I love taking tests and books, because it's like, oh, this is where I'm at, and this is where I need to go, and this is how I get there. And so in that book, it talks about, and so you figure out what level you might be at, so that, and then it gives you the skills and talks about how to get to the next level. And so same thing with your credit. Like, you're always need to be on the grow when it comes to your credit, even if you've got 700 plus scores. Oh, I got 700 plus scores. I have people that still reach out to me that have 700-800 scores before they go buy a vehicle, before they go do anything. Becky, what do I do? How do I do it? Well, let me look at your credit real quick and let's come up with the strategy. And so I love doing that with people because I've messed it up so bad in the past. I've bought real estate. I got into investing in my early 20s. I didn't have a cool coach like Joanna to help walk me through contracts or any of that. I was just doing it. And then I got in over my head because I hadn't learned financial principles. And they didn't even have the book that we study out of now, the 47 principles of being financially fit. And so anyways, I will go off on this subject forever, but the point is that study money and learn and level up to the next level, because if you don't understand money, if you don't understand the economy, you're going to get hosed. It doesn't matter what you're doing, because the economy right now is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, it's a little out of control. Walk in and chips are 50 cents more than they were the week before. Like, everybody's feeling it, and there's a reason for that. But if you don't understand the reason, then moving forward, it's gonna be hard. And so that's why it's so important. Like, if you're thinking of getting into real estate investing, I am excited to have Joanna in my corner, because I know that I have somebody there to make sure that I don't mess that up. And so same thing with credit. You need somebody in your corner that's looking, you need a team of people to help you with your life. What do they say? It takes a village.
Yeah, you know what? Every woman knows this and says this all the time. And I'm picking on women because I hear it all the time. It takes a village to raise your children, right? Like, it can't just be you. Like, you need a babysitter for some reason. You need, doctors. You need, there's so much support that is needed to raise a child, right? And so why would you stop there? Like every part of your life needs support. And there's this great commercial that's out, and this guy's lifting weights. It's about mental health, right? I'm not going to get too far into this, but I'm just saying that he's sitting there with the dead weight on him, and his buddy's like, "Hey, I got you. Like, I'll help you." He goes, "No, I'm fine." And he's stuck under the weight. He says, "I'm fine." He goes, "Dude, you don't have to do this alone." He goes, "You don't know my family, man. I'm fine." And like, it's a whole commercial about mental health. I think it applies to like every part of your life. Like, don't think you're going to fix your car by yourself, right? Some of you can, most of us can't. Don't think you're going to buy real estate on your own. You need a village of team members to help you with that, realtors and lenders. So the same goes with credit repair, credit management, and credit advantage. Like, how are you going to take advantage of having a credit score? That's how you guys should be looking at this. You're not in this by yourself. We are in your corner by your side. That's why we're doing this Trinity podcast, so that you can get this info, get connected, and build strategy, right? To beat the money matrix. Did I cover that?
I love it. To beat the money matrix. That's
because it's totally rigged against you. Just ask Biden.
Well, I want to tell this little story. I've told it a time or two, but probably not on any of these podcasts. And we talk about it in the very first one, but the silly string. What's the silly string that keeps you from getting to your next level? What silly story are you telling yourself in your head that keeps you from getting to the next level? And so I just want to point out this whole economy thing, just because I brought it up just a touch. In 2008, this is going to be fun for people. So I used to be a mortgage broker before I did credit repair. And when I was a mortgage broker, I was helping people get into houses. And I was doing that in 2005, 6, 7, 8-ish. 8-ish, not so much anymore, but in 5, 6, and 7. And so when I was doing that, what I figured out about loans is that they would lend, they would lend so much for however much money you make. They would lend you so much to buy a house. Okay. And so let's just say the average was about 50% of what you made. And so I'm going to use some low numbers just for easy math purposes. So if you made $2,000 a month, they would say, hey, like 1,000 of it, 50% can go towards a house payment. And so this is a super general explanation. So don't take, but anyways, the point is that in 2000-ish, 5, 6, 7, before all the foreclosures, the debt to income ratio was up to 65% debt to income ratio. So what that means,
and explain what debt to income ratio is.
How much debt you have versus how much income you have. So how much house you can buy really is the point. And so if you were making, again, that same example, $250 or $2,000 a month, you could purchase, what is that, $1,350, I think. I can't do the math in my head that fast. I can, but 65, 650, so it's $1,300. So you make $2,000 a month, and they would allow you to spend $1,300 a month on a house payment, which means you had $700 a month for gas, electric, water, like everything else that you would have to pay for. Do you see how that business model went horribly wrong?
Horribly wrong.
And so
you didn't even include food.
No. Well,
which now, I mean, the average family, just think about that for a second. The average family went from $500 a month to $700 a month in groceries, right?
Mm-hmm. And so pay attention to what's coming.
Yeah.
Because after the foreclosure thing, they dropped the debt to income ratio of how much house you could buy for the amount of money that you make to 41%. Well, last I checked, and this was like a year ago that I checked this, it was like some of the programs that were out back then are back, and they were up to 55% debt to income ratio. I want you to be like
again
conscious of where this is all going. And so that's part of me looking at somebody's situation and teaching people not to get in over their head, and then me too learning about finance and money so that I don't repeat the same mistakes that I had repeated in the past, and having a Joanna in my corner so I can build assets, because that is, if you get nothing else from the podcast that we do, if you don't start building assets, you're not going to have any money. The gap between the rich and the poor is growing rapidly. It's that snowball effect. That snowball is getting so big, and you got to have assets now, or you won't have any money. Like it's just going to be the way it is. And so that's why it's so important to us to get this information like out to people as quickly as possible. And us as a community all study it together, the asset building process and how it works and why it matters, and all of this just super fast. So we appreciate you guys watching us. We really do. And so if you got any value out of this today, please type value in the comments, or if you have questions about some of the strategies that we've talked about, throw your questions at us. We want them.
Yeah, we're totally here for you. And we are a windful of information, which is why we started this podcast, because everyone keeps asking us questions that, over and over again, like same questions. So the more you listen, the more questions actually are going to come up. So go ahead and put that in the comments. We do respond. So we're listening because we love that you're listening. And so leveling up your credit is pretty huge right now. It's pretty huge. It's going to allow you to be and do certain things that the middle class that's disappearing cannot do. So once you have that level, that's going to be your ticket, that and assets, right? That's what's going to get you assets in some cases, right? So take every tool you have right now to gain assets, because you're going to need it. I hope you've enjoyed this Trinity podcast, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.